Hello, I'm Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco, and welcome to another episode of the RSO Roundup. Today we have a great show that is probably, as far as content-wise, probably one of the most important for us as a department, because we're going to talk about hiring and background investigations and what it takes for all of you out there that want to become a member of our department to make it through. I'm very glad that we have today with us our background extraordinaire investigator, Christina Weber. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, we're going to fill them with so much knowledge of how to get hired. It isn't going to be funny. We're going to be rolling up at the academy.
Sounds great.
Good. So tell us a little bit about yourself. How long have you been with the department? What have you been doing up until now and up until the backgrounds part?
I've been on the department 13 years now. I started as a deputy sheriff. I unfortunately got hired in 2008 when we had that marketing crash, so I got to hang out in the jail for a while. I took advantage of it and got to work tons of great assignments. After that, I went out to patrol, and now I've been assigned to the background unit for the last 4 years, being a background investigator, getting the new recruits hired for our department.
Very good. And just I'll do a plug. I know you wouldn't probably say this, but Christina is by far our most productive background investigator. So if you're out there and you start applying with us, you can either be very happy that you get her as your investigator because she'll get you hired if you should be hired. But if you might not should be hired, you probably will make that happen too. So we know you do a great job, and really it's kind of hands down. You stand out above all of the others there. So we really appreciate that. But let's talk a little bit about backgrounds and the application process and how people come here. Right now, the hot topic is laterals.
Yes.
Right now, we are getting lateral applications from other agencies, hand over fist, it seems like.
Yeah. So if I could just walk you through the process of a lateral deputy, their first initial thing is just go on our Join RSD website. There's a link that you'll find that'll take you. There's different icons. The first icon you're going to click on is lateral deputy, and it's going to have a huge big button that says Apply Now. You click on that button, and it's going to
make it easy.
Yeah, super simple. It's mainstreamed. That button takes you straight to the email to Sergeant Hall, and you can put in your information, and she'll contact you within 24 hours to get in the background process.
So that's for a lateral.
That's for
correct?
A lateral, correct?
Yeah, so lateral, for everybody out there, that's a law enforcement officer that currently working for another agency, and they want to lateral over to our agency.
We also accept pre-services as well. A pre-service could be someone that's gone through an academy, but is not working for an agency, or that has worked for an agency and their post is still good for 3 years. They can also do that same step as a lateral deputy.
And that background process is going to be, or really that application process is shortened quite a bit, just based on what they've already done and what they're currently doing.
Yeah, we're waiving their initial written, we're waiving their initial PAT, and they're getting straight into backgrounds.
Very good. Very nice. I know I've been reached out to quite a bit on social media from people that are going through the process. Some have completed already and some are into it. And all of them say how smooth it is and happy they are that they made the decision to come over and start that process. But we're trying to make it as easy as possible because we're getting so many of them that want to come over, and we certainly have enough positions to hire. So
yes,
it's great. Not that we would prefer laterals over pre-service, but for everybody out there that knows, we have normal attrition. So people are leaving the profession, they're moving out of state, quit for whatever reason, move on to another profession, go to another agency. And so sometimes you lose a lot of middle-aged employees between the 8-year and the 16, 17-year mark. And if you just replace them with new hires, then you have a lot of new people in the agency. So a lateral benefits us by bringing that experience that they have at their agency and the experience in the career. They bring that over to us. It makes it easier to get them right to work instead of a training program. And then the younger deputies that we have can benefit from their experience at their agency.
They're bringing over a lot of wealth and knowledge and maybe new ideas for the department as well that they've done and learned, and it can help us grow even better.
Yeah. What have you seen? I don't know if you want to talk about this, but what have you seen about where are they mostly coming from?
It's a mix of everything. I was just mentioning earlier, a lot of local agencies. I actually have out-of-state applicants. I have North County applicant, Northern California applicants. at the end of the day, it comes down to quality of life. A lot of our lateral applicants live here in Riverside County, and they want to live and work in the same community.
Yeah.
They want to give back to their own community.
Yeah.
So
Even in my career, I have friends that, whether they're neighbors or just acquaintances through other people that live here, Riverside County, along the corridor going into
Right.
Orange County or into San Diego, but they work in other places. And I can't stand these freeways. I can't stand the commute. So I don't see how they've done it for so long. To
Right.
me, it doesn't make sense why they would not want to work here and why they haven't lateraled over until now. But now we're seeing it, and it's happening quite frequently.
Right. I think the benefits too is they get to go straight to patrol. They're not going to be doing any jail time or court times. They're going straight to patrol. A lot of our laterals have been hired at another agency, and they're unfortunately sitting in a jail. Our agency is different in that retrospect. We've now created the court deputy position, and we now created the sworn on duty correction position. So that takes away the need for our sworn to be in those assignments. So it's getting them straight to patrol where they've always wanted to be.
Yeah, that's good to clear up, because typically any sheriff's department, when you start with them, and it used to be for us too, when you start, you go to the jail and you work there for several years. And what we found was a lot of people were leaving, and they were lateraling over because their friends were at police departments or somewhere else that didn't have a jail, and they wanted to do that patrol assignment right away. And so we were losing a few people, but we made those changes. And a lot of people out there don't know that, some of that barrier of lateraling over to us is that they don't want to work the jail. And now we don't have that. And we are allowing our laterals to actually pick the station that they want to work at.
Yes.
So they can pick to be close to home. They can pick to have a commute if they don't want to work in the same town that they live in. But it seems to be working well. We have positions at every station, so it's not like we're overflowing at some places.
I always try and get their top 3, and I will say out of those top 3 choices that they give me, they usually get their top 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. But at least they have choices that they would like to go to.
Yeah.
If I can talk on lateral sworn officers, but we also have lateral corrections as well that we also take. A lot of agencies have what's called a custody assistant. If they have what's called the STC training or the standard training for corrections, they meet the quota, they can contact us, and they can literally lateral over here and come work in our facility. And the great thing about us in the corrections aspect is we have a lot of room for growth. We have all kinds of ranks and different special assignments. I think they've calculated there's 30 special assignments in the Corrections Bureau that you can work. So there's tons of growth. You can come be all the way up to an undersheriff now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, other agencies
It's an
don't have
entire
that.
career path.
Yes.
And for some, I have very good friends in the department, some deputies, some corrections, and some of the corrections, they originally started in being a sworn deputy, and they didn't like it, or one in particular, his wife didn't want him doing that.
Right.
And so he went to the correction side and has promoted up through the ranks, and fantastic career, fantastic job security, and definitely provide for your family. And it's a great job.
Yes.
Great job. So that's, I think I was told that in these last push of laterals, we have had a couple that have come for corrections.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
And I've personally had a couple. There's going to be more coming your way next month as well.
Good.
So that are coming over. So there is not as big as our sworn, but yes, we're getting them as well. But I think putting the information out there helps them know that they can come here and grow with our agency.
Yeah, it's both. And I've had, now there's been several people that have reached out to me about other states and about federal law enforcement officers coming over to us. And that's a little bit different, right?
So how that works is we ask everybody that's out of state to contact POST. POST is the Peace Officer Standards of Training. They're kind of like our accreditation. So you think of a college, they accredit us to be our standards of training. They can contact POST and provide their training and experience, and POST will say if they can give them the waiver, and we accept that waiver.
Very nice.
Once POST is agreed to
So it's not
that.
necessarily a guarantee, but it's not an absolute no either.
No, correct.
So it's
Yes.
probably safe to say a case-by-case basis.
Yes, sir.
Good. Very nice. So laterals, we're all for them. We're taking tons of them now. I never want to do this, but I always do, and then it gets in my head and I can't get it out. So now we'll have to get a tiny bit political here. But we're getting a lot of applicants because of some agencies are mandating that they get vaccinated.
Yes.
And we're having a lot of people come to us because we aren't doing that.
Correct.
I just want to make that clear for everybody out there. I find it. I actually think it's horrible that I know today that LAPD was firing some more.
I heard yesterday. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a couple.
And it's very sad and it's very unfortunate, but I want all of them to know that if they're in that situation, we are certainly hiring, and I have the perfect background investigator for them. So we'll move on now. Get rid of the I'll get rid of the little bit of drama that I cause every now and then. Let's talk about just regular, brand new. I want to be a deputy. I want to work for the sheriff's department.
It's the same initial starting step. You go to the Join RSD website. You're going to complete an online questionnaire. This is through our HR department. Our HR then will set you up with your written and our physical agilities tests. And then after that, you get into backgrounds with us. And then same progression of steps and come join the department.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest thing is the physical agility test. And sometimes I wonder when I go out and watch that people know what to expect. They know that this is a physically demanding job, and they know that the academy is physically hard, and they know that we have minimum requirements to pass that part.
Yes.
But sometimes it's amazing to me that they show up and they don't make it.
I think they're uninformed that sometimes they show up and think that they don't have to do that. But we have tons of videos out there on our social media platforms. Myself and another coworker actually put together a video that's out there that shows you all the steps that have to be done, how to properly do a sit-up, how to properly do a push-up, because we have to make sure that you can go all the way down and all the way up in the push-up. Same with the sit-up, all the way down and all the way up. And then the run, it's 1.5 miles. That's all we're asking of you. And for the push-ups and sit-ups, it's only a minute of your time. So sit at home while you're watching a commercial, start pushing out those push-ups and sit-ups, and it's really easy to do. Very minimal numbers.
There you go. And how often do we have the PATs?
We do them twice a month. It's the first and third Tuesday of every month we do those.
Very nice. So that's after they get on board, they fill out the application, they take the written,
correct,
pass the written, and that automatically gets them to the PAT.
Correct.
Very nice. So it's not difficult at all.
No.
The written is there kind of like a 2-part to the written? You have the initial questionnaire.
There's a brief questionnaire with HR that you have to complete once you've completed that, and that's all online. That gives you basically like a calendar to choose the date that you want to do your written test, and then you select the written test date and show up for the written test date with HR, and then they'll schedule you for the next upcoming PAT.
So you pass the PAT, and you're pretty much in line where they start doling out backgrounds to the investigators.
We do what's called a preliminary background questionnaire right there after the PAT. It's a 6-page questionnaire, just general questions that are asked of the applicant. We're kind of doing a little bit of a vetting. We review those, and the next step is they're sent to what we call our new online application of ESOF. We went online, which has made my job 10 times easier and helps me expedite files that much faster. The applicant provides us all the information, and with one click of the button, I can send out letters to all their emails that they're of the references that they provided through this new program that we've utilized.
Yeah, I'm in that system. I monitor it sometimes. I look at some of the applicants and see how many we have, whatever it is. But it's certainly, the look of it is certainly easy, and we put a lot of the onus on whether or not they get through this process on them.
Yes.
If they can't do follow-up information and upload things into a computer and fill out a form that's required, we don't want to hold their hand to do it, and it's very, very self-explanatory, but that does happen.
As a law enforcement officer, you're going to do tons of writing, and you have to be very attention to detailed. And it starts right with your own application. So being able to follow those simple instructions, and it lets me know that you're going to be a great officer because, as you know, we do tons of paperwork, and that attention to detail is super important.
Yeah, I know where I want to go with this question, but just briefly, what is right off of the bat, what's the number one cause of not making it through the process of being rejected?
Yeah, integrity. At the end of the day, every time I talk to a person I'm having an interview with, I tell them, I don't care about anything in your background. I just need to know about everything in your background. If you can't be honest about your own self, how can I say that you can be an officer in law enforcement? That's what it comes down to. We are able to overcome almost anything. We just cannot overcome a lie. That's
Yeah.
what it comes down to.
That's almost like we scripted that. And just for everybody else, we don't do this. And sometimes I put people on the spot when we're here on talking like this, but that I couldn't have said that any better. And I say that all the time. I tell people, don't try and hide things. Yeah, I mean, if you try and hide something from you, you're going to find it.
Yes.
And then the issue becomes, why did you hide it?
Right.
So it's not whether or not you did it or not. It's why did you try and hide it? And honesty is really that's the number one killer of law enforcement careers is dishonesty.
Right.
And if you don't have that coming in, it's probably not something we can teach you. You have to have that ingrained in you that you want to do the right thing, tell the truth, and just be honest about what you've done. I don't know any, and I know there's a little bit, why don't you tell us what the worst background you ever did?
Well, as you know, Sheriff, I am not allowed or privy to talk about anything. I did sign a confidentiality. It is someone's background. We don't discuss that or talk about that, even with you.
So I knew you were going to say that, and I'm glad you say that. I'm glad you said that. But for everybody out there, I get asked all the time. Everybody calls me because their friend or their neighbor or their relative or someone didn't make it through the background process, and of course it's our fault. And they want to know why they didn't make it, or I'm a great candidate. Why didn't I make it? And I can't tell them. And not because I can't tell them, I don't know, because I don't know why they didn't make it. The only person that knows that is you.
Right.
And the importance of your job is it's your decision. And then you give that recommendation to the sergeant there. And, it does go up the chain of command, especially on a dismissal, but we don't talk about that, and we don't give out reasons. We will either tell you can never apply again, or give it some time and you can apply.
Yeah, and sometimes it might just be time and separation. I like to tell my applicants, if we're having a conversation about something, that's what you need to work on. Most applicants think they don't know because they sign up what's called a no feedback waiver with our agency and most other agencies. But if you're having a conversation with your background investigator, they more than likely know why they were disqualified.
Yeah. I usually tell that to especially parents that ask me why their kids didn't make it. It's like you just want to have a good heart to heart with your son or daughter, because I don't think they're telling you the whole story that they did tell us. And sometimes it's bittersweet for me because it shows that they're being honest.
Right.
So they were being honest, but there are some things that it may not be fatal to your career,
Right.
but just for right now, you might have to wait a little bit and put some time between what you're telling us that you did or do,
right,
and the time that we actually hire you. So we definitely have automatic disqualifiers with drugs, criminal activity. I mean, you can't be a felon.
Correct.
So we do have strict no's, but usually not usually, but a lot of the other things are a case by case basis, where time in between when you did what you did.
Right.
What is the age requirement? Do we have age requirements?
There's no age requirement. There is a beginning age requirement for sworn. You have to be 20 years old and 9 months to apply. Just so at the time of graduation, you're 21 years old, because that's a law that to possess a firearm, you have to be 21 years old. So that's the only age requirement. But as long as
every other position in the department is 18.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So our corrections, our dispatch, our classified staff, our accountants, everything is 18.
Yeah. We've had applicants in the background process that were about to graduate high school for correctional deputies. So you can apply even before you finish your high school and get a job by the time you graduated.
Very nice. Well, that's always a plus. But you can't say no to a very good paycheck, and starting that path toward retirement is always nice.
Yes.
Yeah. So drugs, I will say marijuana, we had to make a concession because they made marijuana legal and a lot of people are smoking marijuana. But for everyone out there, we do not allow it. I say you cannot be a cop and smoke marijuana. And so in the hiring process, that there is a time gap between when you can smoke marijuana and when we're going to hire you. Do you know what that is?
I do, but
I don't either.
Yeah, we're not privy to share that confidential information again. I signed that no feedback waiver. Can't disclose what we
that
talked.
Wasn't a feedback waiver.
Yeah.
You would think I could say that, but I can't.
That's not just something we disclose or we've put out there. I don't think that's been approved yet.
Really?
Yeah.
By me?
Yeah.
I'm slacking.
So, yeah. So we don't talk about that. But when it comes to drugs, we know people have some people have used drugs in their past, and that's something that we can overcome. It's not something that's an automatic disqualifier. So don't think that that's automatically going to disqualify you either.
Right. But what I don't want someone doing is smoking a joint as they get out of their car to come do their PAT.
Correct.
It's not going to make it.
No.
And I know that's happened before.
Maybe.
Very good. So about how many applicants do you have to go through before you actually hire someone?
I just had my review done. My sergeant told me I did 300 and something this last year, and I hired 103.
So the ones that you get into then you're further along in the process. It's not like they see you first. So you're really the last part of the process is that background. And you're roughly getting about a third of the people through.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know any of the statistics of the people that come out to apply that eventually end up being hired?
Whenever I started the unit, our numbers are like 1 in 100. That's kind of what it's always been told to me.
It's about average?
Yeah, it's about average. I think that's maybe changed a little bit. That's about average.
Very good. We're excited coming up.
Yes.
What do we have coming up?
We have an expedited hiring event March 26th. It's going to be a great, you could bring your friends, family. There's going to be lots of, all of our special assignments are going to be out there. It's going to be at our Ben Clark Training Center. Also during that event, we're doing open walk-ins for testing, for written tests, for the PATs. Laterals are even welcome to come out. Sergeant Hall is going to be out there. You could talk to her and get your preliminary background questionnaire filled out right then and there.
It's going to be a big event. What's the date again?
March 26th, Saturday, March 26th at 8 a.m.
We would prefer that you went online and found it and pre-registered so we know that you're coming.
Yes.
But we are going to allow for walk-ins. We're going to make it a big deal. We're going to have a lot of employees there. We're going to showcase all of the things that we have to offer for the department, what you could expect in your career. And we're hoping to get a lot out of this, a lot of potentially good background candidates.
Yes.
And a little bit more work for you, unfortunately, though.
That's great.
That's okay.
Keeps us busy.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
And you do a fantastic job, so we'll just keep you busy. That's one of the bad things about this job is the harder you work and the more you do, we just give you more work. But you do a great job with it. All right, so we're going to cut this short. Make sure you come out to our Expedited Hiring Fair coming up on
March 26th.
And we will see you there. And all of you laterals out there that want to come over to the Riverside County Sheriff's Department, we want you here. All you have to do is reach out to us, a simple email, and we'll get back with you and make that happen. So for everyone watching and listening, thank you for joining us on this edition of the Roundup, and we will see you next time.